got a bad show tonight. Godfather Soldier Slamming. Name my topic tonight is called Horrible and Horrific in Houston, Texas. What will be in store? Will Full Gear be any good this year? Will Full Gear be any good? Yeah, will Full Gear be any good this month? So much as I say. Before I do, I'm gonna show this little music. It's number one hit R&B single from 1985 called "Curiosity" by the Jets, and from their 1985 debut album, "Curiosity." Stick around, right back. Music playing. My review. Say, man. Yep, Curiosity by the Jets. All we just heard. So let's get down to business on tonight's show. We open the show with a look back at Friday Night Dynamite and the attack by Heyman and Page on Samoa Joe and the Ops. From there, we head to ringside as Tony Schiavone starts to make an announcement regarding a new championship in AEW. Until the Ops make their way out, the crowd booing as Joe declares, "How disrespectful!" Interrupt. "Houston, we have a problem on his way to the ring. There's no sign that may apply to the man in the ring, Tony Schiavone." The crowd chants for Tony, but Joe seems to have it out for the man who helped deceive the Ops last week. As he tells Tony to shut up when he starts to express his respect, Joe says that actions have consequences and consequences have come for Tony Schiavone. The Ops on the ring apron and security rushes down to stop the fight. But it's the arrival of the AEW World Championship that has Joe backing off. Security tries to hold back Page as Joe says this means he can take care of one or two problems at once, but Hook and Eddie Kingston run down to even the numbers. The Ops retreat up the ramp as Page says he can understand the confusion, but the Hangman is right here. Page may be Joe's problem, but he was willing to beat up Joe and his Wranglers. Hook has a mic as well, asking the Ops how does it feel holding those titles without him before issuing a challenge tonight for the champs to put their titles on line tonight. Joe is riled up by this, eventually accepting the challenge, as we hear that Tony Khan has made the match official. With that, commentary hypes up the lineup for tonight. Up next is the first of our Blood and Guts advantage battles as Orange Cassidy takes on Claudio Castagnoli. We head back to ringside as Orange Cassidy makes his way to the ring for our opening contest. Out next is Claudio Castagnoli making his way through the crowd before Cassidy dives into him on the outside. Claudio manages to turn things around as the fight returns to the ring before we finally get this match underway. Blood and Guts advantage battle. Orange Cassidy versus Claudio Castagnoli. Claudio brings the former international champion to the outside, beating on Cassidy, for slamming him onto the barricade. He hoists Orange up to bring him back into the ring, but Cassidy manages to break free as he clings onto the back of Castagnoli. Cassidy goes for a sleeper hold of sorts on Claudio. As Claudio starts to fade. He tries to fight out of the grip, even spinning Cassidy around, but Orange still holds on. Claudio managed to break free, pulling Orange around for a giant swing that sends Cassidy through the ropes to the outside as we go to an ad break. Full ad break on HBO Max. Back from work, Cassidy has returned to the ring as he starts to fight back, until Claudio sends him to the corner for an uppercut. Claudio backs up as he taunts the crowd, but this gives Cassidy an opening to put his hands in his pockets for a second win. He runs to the ropes to take Castagnoli down to the mat, falling before a PK before Claudio leaves the ring. Cassidy charges for a tornado DDT through the corner, but it gets caught by Claudio. Only the former Ring of Honor World Champion still to be sent to the floor with a DDT. The match returns to the ring as Cassidy continues to fight, only for Claudio to take him down to the mat for a near fall. Cassidy gets back to his feet, looking for an orange punch, but it takes an uppercut instead. Claudio launches him up, and the spot Cassidy running back for an orange punch, he gets laid out with another uppercut that gets Claudio the win. The winner via pinfall, Claudio Castagnoli. Italian. Some of you know Cesaro from WWE. The Death Riders temporarily have the advantage going into Blood and Guts now, pending the result of Alan Garcia and Roderick Strong versus John Moxley on Collision. Backstage, Mike Briscoe lays out the challenge to Kyle Fletcher for a TNT Championship match with no disqualifications. Fletcher likes the sound of that, but Don Callis offers a stipulation of his own in his own response. If Briscoe loses, he joins the Don Callis family and leaves those losers in the conglomeration behind. Mark talks about making deals with the devil for insisting he will not lose, accepting the stipulations. We get the match set up for Full Gear. In commercial break, commentary hypes up the $1 Million Trios match set for Full Gear. Before we head backstage to hear from the Young Bucks alongside Don Callis and Josh Alexander. Don talks up his recent contributions to the Bucks amidst the speculations that they may have joined the Don Callis family. Speaking of the rest of the family, come in to say hello as as Okada gives a testimonial. The Bucks ask for space and the family walk away, with Okada telling them not to take too much time before he too walks off. Continental Mary hypes up the Women's Tag Team Championship tournament as we head back to ringside, where Mercedes Moné makes her entrance for our next match. This is followed by the arrival of Ring of Honor Women's Champion Athena to a nice pop from the Houston crowd. We get a look back at Athena aiding Moné against Statlander before Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale make the save. And speaking of that, the pair make their way out next, heading down to the ring as we get this match underway. AEW Women's Tag Team Championship qualifying match: Mercedes Moné and Athena versus Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale. Athena and Moné blindside the Babes of Wrath before we get things started with Mercedes and Harley Cameron. She brings Harley to the corner for a boot to the throat before tagging in Athena, who continues the attack before a near fall. Tag mate to the AEW Women's TBS Champion. Women's TBS Champion, who lays out Cameron as the crowd chants, "Boston sucks." While she gets a near fall, Harley calls to the corner, making a tag to Willow Nightingale, who takes down Athena and Moné with a aggressive drop kick. Harley looks for a tag and gets it, and the Babes of Wrath go at it, sending Mercedes down before Cameron gets a 2 count. Athena comes in as Willow gets sent to the outside, where she takes a dive from Athena, where Mercedes gets a close near fall on Harley before we go to an ad break. Full ad break on HBO Max. We come back from the break as Moné lands on a couple of vertical suplexes before tagging in Athena. But Harley tags in Athena before they take their opponents down to the canvas. Athena makes a brevity offense from Willow Nightingale in the corner, allowing a near fall before Athena fights back for a tag to Moné. Mercedes takes her former rival down hard, but only gets a 2 count before she lays in some more forearm strikes. Willow fights back for a tag to Cameron, but Mercedes takes Nightingale down with a backstabber, only to take solo food from Harley. Athena is fended off as the Babes of Wrath send her to the corner, for Moné hits a backstabber on Harley, transitioning to a statement maker. Harley looks like she's in trouble as Willow Nightingale gets back to her feet, running the ropes for a pounce on Athena, sending her onto Moné to break the submission hold Athena rolls the apron as Willow tags in, sending both women away as Athena gets the tag. She takes Willow out, sending her to the corner where Harley makes a tag to get back in. The Mercedes takes her former rival down hard, but only gets a 2 count before Lacey lays in some more forearm strikes. Willow fights back for a tag to Cameron. The Mercedes takes Nightingale down with a backstabber, only to take Sully down from food from Harley. Then is fended off as the Babes of Wrath send her to the corner before Monet hits a backstabber on Harley, transitioning to a statement maker. Harley looks like she's in trouble as Willow gets back to her feet, running the ropes for a pounce on Athena, sending her into the Monet to break the submission hold. Athena rolls the apron as Willow tags in, sending both women away. As Athena gets a tag, she takes it to Willow, sending her toward the corner, where Harley makes a tag to get back in. She charges at Ring of Honor Women's Champion, who has Willow on her shoulders, and catches Harley in the arms for slamming both to the canvas. She calls for Billy Starks to come to ringside to intervene, but she is fended off by Chris Statlander as Willow hits a powerbomb on Athena before Harley lands on her in a finishing move for the pin to win. Winners via pinfall advancing. Babes of Wrath, Willow Nightingale, and Harley Cameron. The pair celebrate as we go to commercial. And we go to commercial break. Return to ringside as Tony Schiavone makes clear that the news broke that on social media earlier today that Casino Gauntlet that he was rudely interrupted by Joe. As a Casino Gauntlet match at Full Gear will crown the first ever AEW National Champion. Tony talks about the history of a national championship on TBS before introducing the first two men who have signed for this match. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, the Hurt Syndicate, make their way to the ring to a nice pop "We Hurt People" chant from the crowd. MVP jokes about making this actually Schiavone before he hypes up the Hurt Syndicate being the most interesting thing in any group we step into. Before talking about the national titles lineages over the years, he talks about the iconic names that have held that title before, but he says who is more iconic than the almighty Bobby Lashley. He also hypes up how good Shelton Benjamin before Tony asks what happens. The two men face each other in a match. MVP says they handle things like businessman, and what's best for business is that also best for the AEW audience. He's interrupted by a demand as Ricochet gets on the boot out of the building for respecting wearing a Philadelphia Eagles cap while he gets respect to the Hurt Syndicate. He then jokes about the fact that he has made sure that Hurt Syndicate won't win gold ever again, asking Bobby how his back is doing while the crowd chants, "Shut the fuck up," to which Ricochet responds by saying they're only making it worse. MVP talks over Ricochet and to say he likes getting hurt, and the Hurt Syndicate like to hurt people, trying to invite Ricochet and his crew to the ring for a fight after Ricochet declares he'll be the first AEW National Champion. Ha ha. Backstage, Jungle Jack Perry tells Luchasaurus that some things are more important than money as he addresses the young buck dealing with tough times. He offers a dollar bill that he sticks a knife into, telling Luchasaurus to leave it that way. Leave it as we cut away. Back at ringside, Darby Allin makes his way out for our next contest as he looks to tie up the series against the Death Riders. We cut to the back where Mox encourages Daniel Garcia to put this away before Garcia makes his way through the crowd toward the ringside. He enters the ring as we get this match underway. the men's blood and guts revenge battle. Darby Allin versus Danny Garcia. Despite an early going by Garcia, Darby, who showcases his technical prowess, eventually getting a side headlock. But Garcia fights out of it by pulling an ear of Allin. Darby moves away to the apron, only to get caught in the corner by Garcia, who tries to choke him with a turnbuckle cover before the ref intervenes. Garcia goes back on the attack, only for Darby to fight back before taking out a bite of Garcia. And as Daniel drops to the floor, he gets hit with a dive that sends both men to the floor. Darby is the first one back up, sending Garcia into the ring steps before charging at him. He brings Garcia back into the ring, but Dan quickly slips back before tripping Darby up in the ring apron for a boot to the face. He brings Darby back up, sending him into the ring steps with the impact, forcing Allin to the floor as we go to an ad break. Full ad break on HBO Max. Back from the break, Garcia has the advantage over Darby in the ring before Darby catches Daniel in a guillotine choke on the canvas. Garcia breaks free, but Darby is quick to go for another hold, only for Daniel to catch him in the rear naked choke. Darby moves back looking to get Garcia on his shoulders for a force break. Garcia goes right back on it before being back into a corner, leading a count to break the hold. The fight returns to the corner as Garcia sets up for a suplex, landing it before going for a second suplex where Darby counters it into a scorpion death drop. Both men are down as the ref begins the count. Darby is back up as he heads to the corner, but gets dropped to the floor by Garcia instead. Daniel drags Darby around before pulling to the ring steps, away from the ring himself. Propping to the head of Darby against it for a nasty looking drop kick. The ref intervenes, telling Garcia to back away as he heads to the ringside. This leaves the ref no choice to begin the count, until he has it out with Garcia trying to go back after Darby. In the midst of this, Pac sneaks to ringside for a cheap shot before escaping through the crowd. The count recessed due to an argument with Garcia. The ref reaches 9 just before Darby leaps into the ring. It seems that much energy as he keeps falling down to the mat, as Garcia sees the opening that he needs as he lays in some hard strikes on Darby. He locks in the Dragon Slayer, though it's more of a Scorpion Deathlock as he mocks Sting before turning Darby over. Darby crawls toward the ropes but is pulled back in the middle of a ring by Garcia. Darby managed to break free enough to counter into a Scorpion Deathlock of his own, and Garcia has no choice but to tap out. Winner via submission, Darby Allin. The mock strong match collision will determine the advantage going into blood and guts, as Pac and Yuta revive to stop any sort of celebration. They and Garcia beat down Darby until things break down, with nearly the rest of both teams coming down to ringside. Kyle Morale looks hurt as Strong manages to get the Death Riders away from the ring. The stare down between both teams goes as we go to a commercial. Commercial break. We head back into ringside as FTR sends Big Stoke head down to a round of boos from the crowd. Casually talks about winning another shot at the tag titles, but they say they should have been 3-time champions at Forbidden Door. He says they have a bone to pick with Brodeo, calling the champs out to do this man-to-man, face-to-face. Brodeo's music hits, but there's no sign of the champs as we see them trapped in their dressing room backstage, with Stoke unsure why they can't get out as he's watching his phone. Dex makes fun of this before talking about Brandy Dito's family being at ringside. We see the family, including Brother Gravity, as Dax introduced himself to Brodio's grandmother in Cash in Spanish before saying it was heartwarming to see her cheering her grandson on. He asked the grandmother how old she was. She is. She interrupts her to say she can't be a day over 113. He then makes the Dia de los Muertos joke. That I rather not repeat before he and Cass would love to adapt her as their abuela. He wants to seal a deal with a beso, which means kiss in Spanish. But Gravity fights her for her honor before they bring him to the ring for a beating. As we see Brody King break through the door, grabbing Stoke before he and Brodio make their way out. The pair come out and aid Gravity as FTR and Stoke retreat up to the ramp. Commentary hypes up the recently released book, AEW book, before we get a music video for Sick Ones by the Violent Hour, hyping up Blood and Guts next week. Back at ringside, Thomas Tony Storm makes her entrance to join the commentary for our next match. Out first is Maria Shakira, replacing the injured Queen Aminata in this revenge battle against Queen Megan Bang. Speaking of, the Megasis comes out next alongside Penelope before as we get this match underway. Women's Blood and Guts Advantage battle, Megan Bang versus Mina Shirakawa. Megan Bang has the advantage early on, taking Mina to task before Shikara breaks free. She hits the ropes for a head scissors takedown, but Megan stops her in the track before Mina lands on a dropkick, sending her to the ropes to the floor outside. Mina climbs to the turnbuckle as the crowd chants for her. As she takes to the sky for a crossbody, sending Megan Bang to the floor before the fight returns to the ring, where Megan Bang seeks sending Mina to the mat with an avalanche fallaway slam before we go to a break. Full ad break on HBO Max. Back from break, Mina manages to take Bang to the mat before making a cover for a 2 count. Megan returns to the floor by slamming Mina down before taking a near fall of her own, and the battle spills on the apron. Both women fight out before Mina takes control with a suplex, sending Megasis onto the hardest part of the ring. She is unable to capitalize as Megan Bang is already back up, landing a superplex on Mina from the turnbuckle. Mina manages to turn it back around for a slinging blade off the top turnbuckle, but she manages to get a near fall for her efforts. She looks for a glamorous driver as we see Toni Storm choked out and dragged away from the announce table by Marina Shafir. Back in the ring, Mina tries to fight on before Megan turns it around with a running Liger Bomb for the win. Winner via pinfall, Megan Bang. This puts Bang's team up ahead, needing some more to win the advantage going into the women's Blood and Guts match next week. Tony, who managed to fight off Shafir, returns to the ring with a chair before the Sisters of Sin run down to get involved as well. This leads to nearly everyone on both teams running down to the ring. Chaos ensues as we see Mercedes run down onto the side against it. But Chris is out here to go after the future challenger as well. The Chaos finally downs down with the good guys standing tall in the ring as we go to commercial. We're going to go to commercial break. Back at ringside, there's been enough talk. It's time for our main event. Out first are the Yops, who look to defend their titles. Out next are Hangman and Page, Hook, and Eddie Kingston. And with that, we get this match underway. AEW Trios Championship. The Ops, Samoa Joe, Kazuyori Shibata, and Powerhouse Hobbs defend against Hangman and Page Hook, Eddie Kingston. Joe teases to go toe-to-toe with Page before tagging in Shibata as he steps up to the Ring of Honor to the World Champion with an exchange of strikes. Page takes Shibata down before making a tag to Hook, who squares up with his former friend Shibata. only for the wrestler to take him down before taking in Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs comes in and take the last ever FTW champion down to the mat hard, mocking him throughout. Hobbs sends Hook to the corner, but Hook reverses a T-bone suplex, sending Powerhouse to the mat. The exertion has Hook reaching for his back and pain, but Hobbs is still down as we go to an ad break. Full ad break on HBO Max. We're back from the break. We have Joe and Kingston in the ring, going at it until Joe sends Eddie to the mat. He attacks Eddie's neck for a nerve pinch until Eddie fights back with to his feet, only to be sent right back down by Joe. Joe goes for a running senton, but Kingston rolls out of the way. Joe calls for a tag to Hobbs, but as Kingston gets the tag to the world champion. The two go at it until Paige sends the Powerhouse to the outside only for Hobbs to catch him with a dive. Adam nearly breaks free and the fight returns to the ring as Paige catches Hobbs with a moonsault for a 2 count. The things break down as after Kingston after tag to Kingston, which leads to Hobbs taking back Paige. Stage for a beatdown before Hangman fights back. Hobbs catches Paige, sending him off the stage through the table. Hobbs makes his way back into the ring as Kingston does his best to fight back Joe and Shibata. Kingston dodges a PK from Shibata, who collides with Joe instead as Eddie lands an explosive suplex. Hobbs charges at him, sending Kingston to the corner, but this allows Hook to get a blind tag. He climbs to the back of Hobbs, but the Powerhouse catches him with a torture rack or backbreaker, according to Excalibur, forcing Hook to submit. Winners via pinfall and still AEW World's Trio Champions. The Ops. Champs celebrate up the ramp as we see medical staff checking on Paige, while commentary reveals that the champ will face Hobbs in a Falls Count Anywhere match next week as Dynamite comes to a close. Oh boy, that was just terrible. Terrible show tonight, man. Just a terrible show tonight. This was just a terrible show tonight. It was just garbage, and it's unbelievable, man. Oh boy. Well, now I got that covered. Now, I don't know how it's gonna look good for Fuel Gear. Now I got everything covered. All I know it's time for Justin's Time History, y'all. Wrestling, birthdays, pop culture, history, all that stuff. All you hear things from Back to the Future star Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. Celebrates 40th anniversary on July 3rd, 2025. This movie was released July 3rd, 1985. So let's get down to business. Let's go yesterday, November the 4th. Yesterday was a happy. Yesterday was a happy 41st birthday to Ryan Nemeth, the younger brother of Dolph Ziggler, whose real name is Dolph Ziggler. His brother's real name is what's his real name? His real name is Nick Nemeth. That's right. Let's see. Yesterday would have been 120th birthday to Everett Marshall. He was born November 4th, 1905 and died on February 10th, 1973. He died of complications from surgery. Yesterday would have been a happy 90th birthday to Max Success number 2. His real name was Tom Ernesto. He was born November 4th, 1927. That died. The death was heart failure. He died on April 25th, 2000. Yesterday was a happy 73rd birthday would have been a happy 73rd birthday to Larry Cameron, African American wrestler. He died in Bremen, Germany, December 13th, 1973. And actor Ralph Macchio turned 64 yesterday. In the Karate Kid, in the TV show Cobra Kai. One of my favorite actors. And let's see what now let's go to some wrestling history. So, Nasty Boy on WCW Worldwide. Nasty Boys defeated Buddy Valentine, Giant Swinger, when Ryan Niles pinned Swinger after a nasty splash. The Shark with Kevin Sullivan and main Prince Vernon Henderson after a shark attack. Diamond Dallas Page with the Diamond Doll pins Cobra after pushing Cobra off the ropes at 257. Ric Flair and Arn Anderson and Brian Pillman defeat Tim Horner and Steve Armstrong Boys when Flair pins Scott after a figure 4 leg lock at 846. Okay, on WCW Pro, November 4th, 1995, Alex Wright defeated Dean Malenko. Eddie Guerrero defeats Cobra with victory roll. Prime Move Switch of the Week, Kevin Sullivan pins Johnny Boone for double stump. In the open contest, we shown Ric Flair and Ironson and Brian Pillman defeat Mark Starr and Barry Houston and Franklin Lancaster when Flair makes Lancaster submit to the figure 4 leg lock at 2:24:54. Caruzawa with Colonel Parker defeats Joey Mags via submission with a Fujiwara armbar at 2:22. Hunter Hearst Helmsley Triple H defeated Mike Legacy on WWE Superstars. Henry Ogawa defeated Otis Apollo. Bam Bam Bigelow defeated Scott D'Amore. King Mabel defeated Tim McNeely. Bret the Hitman Hart defeated Sid defeated Sid Justice, Psycho Sid. With Bobby, his ringside was Bobby Jerson, Glenn Coker, Mike Anderson, and Scott Henderson. And by his side, Sid was King Kong Bundy, Skip, and Ted DiBiase. And we see Jerry King Lawler interviewing Goldust, and he challenges Bam Bam Bigelow to a match at Survivor Series 95. Let's see. WCW Saturday Night. Hold on, let's see what else. WCW Saturday Night. On WCW Saturday Night, Paul Orndorff defeats Rick Garcia after power driving. Chris Benoit defeats Alex Wright with a dragon suplex. Nasty Boys defeat State Patrol and Brian Knobbs pins Lieutenant James Earl after a Nancy splash. BK Wall Street beats Mike Davis after a sharp market crash at 30:55. Arn Anderson and Brian Pillman defeat Darby Allin and Cobra Buster when Brian Pillman kills Cobra after Tom Blonde 4-14. WCW Tag Team Championship match: Harlem Heat defeat the Blue Bloods when Booker T pins Laura Stephen Briggle after Colonel Tom Parker interferes at 312. Let's see what else. Let's see. And let's see, pop culture, couple of movies released in theaters. Three films released in theaters: Chicken Little, anime movie featuring the voices of Zach Braff, Gary Marshall, Joan Cusack, and late Don Knotts, Patrick Stewart, and the whole all-star cast. Good Night and Good Luck, starring David Strathairn and Patricia Clarkson. It's a really good movie. And Jeff Daniels, Robert Downey Jr., Frank Langella. It's a really good movie. Good Night and Good Luck. And Jarhead starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Peter Skarsgård, Chris Cooper, and Jamie Foxx. Really good movie. But it was a flop though. Let's see what else. See. Okay, on Impact Wrestling, November 4, 2015, Addison Rae defeated Brooklyn in TNA World Heavyweight Championship title series group knockouts match. Brian Ram defeated Rockstar Spirits in the TNA World Heavyweight title series group UK match. Manic defeated Mandrews in the TNA World Heavyweight title X Group Division X match. Eddie Edwards versus Dave Richards ended in the TNA World Heavyweight title series group tag team match specials match. Mahalo Shibaro defeated Kenny King in the TNA World Heavyweight title series group wildcard match. Eric Young defeated Bobby Roode in TNA World Heavyweight title series group match TNA Originals. On NXT, on November 4th, 2015, Asuka defeated Cameron by submission. Bull Dempsey defeated Angela Dawkins with Sawyer Fulton. Eva Marie defeated Gianna Daudio. Some of you know is Liv Morgan. Apollo Crews defeated Finn Balor by DQ in an NXT Championship match. See what else now. Let's go to November the 5th today.
Plans to meet Terry Gordy at Thanksgiving.
I'm sorry about that.
We'll see the Punisher in action. A startling occurrence in the Thugs versus Heavenly Bodies double chain match. Highlights of Jim Cornette's human Jack in the Box. And Buddy Landell and Tommy Rich go toe-to-toe. Don't go away. Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Roxanne Perez turns 24 today. Allison Kay turns 38 today. Let's see what else. On this date, 1995, on WCW main event, Alex Wright defeated Dean Malenko. And on this, see 2005 on WWE Velocity. For WWE Velocity, Kid Cash defeats Brian Kendrick. The Dicks defeat James Prentice and Kevin Antonio. Selvon defeats Joey Ryan. Mexico Psychosis and Super Crazy defeat William Regal and Paul Burchill. And on WWE SmackDown, 2015, World Arena in Colorado Springs, Colorado on SmackDown on Friday on Thursday Night SmackDown. Alberto with Zeb Cole defeated Neville. Usos, Jimmy and Jay Uso defeated the Ascension, Connor and Victor. Wyatt family defeated Lucha Dragons. And the Primetime Players in an 8-man tag team elimination match. Ryback defeated King Barrett. Natalia, the daughter of the late Jim Dean Neidhart, and defeated Tamina, the daughter of the late Jimmy Superfly Snuka with Sasha Banks and Naomi. Kevin Owens defeated Dean Ambrose by DQ in a non-title match. And that will do it for my review. I'm the Godfather Soul Justin Slimming, and hope all of you have a good night. As a late Cherry Hill show, I say I like to dress like Cheddar Checker, sing like Larry Richie, dance like James Brown. And again, that hot tub, gonna be sweat, gonna be dry, gonna be wet. Referring to Eddie Murphy doing the impression of James Brown signing out back in the 80s. I never grew up in the 80s, I grew up in the 90s, so I saw reruns of old school Saturday Night Live way back on Comedy Central when I was little. So I hope all of you a good night. I'm got someone close out the show with all of you tonight. I'm gonna close out the show with Stand Out from the Goofy movie soundtrack, anime movie Stand Out. So I hope all of you have a good night. Find the music by Tevin Campbell. Oh wait a minute, everybody! Got another piece of history, wrestling history. For all of you. Show I messed up. Got to mention yesterday for another say SmackDown. Booker T came out yeah, for November 4th, 2005. Staples Center, Los Angeles, California. Yeah. Rey Mysterio, Ray Hardy and Rey Mysterio defeated Christian and JBL with Jillian Hall, and then Booker T explains how, and Shamel explains how he deceived everyone, fooled everyone by his deception, fooled everybody by thinking that he was standing, he was disgusted with Carmella, what his wife Shamel did, until he was real that they had bet Booker T and Shamel Bissett, Chris Benoit, and it was Theodore Long, and Theodore Long came out and asked him that he'll defend his U.S. title against Chris Benoit. But Booker T cheated but changed the United States title. And Roddy Piper defeated Bobo and joined them with a despicable beating by beating. Yeah, Roddy Piper defeated Bobo and Jr. Then Randy Orton came out and attacked him, and Bobby Lashley defeated Nunzio and Vito in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Mr. Kennedy and defeated Sky Too Hottie, and Eminem defeated Mercury and Nitro, with Melina defeated Batista and Eddie Guerrero to retain WWE Tag Team Championship. And this was Eddie's last appearance before his death. Eddie's last one of the last moments of Eddie Guerrero before his death on November 13th, 2005. 2000, yeah, forgot to mention that SmackDown episode, Friday Night SmackDown episode. I'm already mentioned Heat earlier, so I'm gonna start So let me say this again one more time. As late Chad Henshaw said, dress up with Chad Checker, saying like Richie and James Brown, I didn't get in a hot tub, gonna be sweat, gonna be dry, gonna be wet. Referring to Eddie Murphy doing an impression of James Brown on Saturday Night Live back in the 80s. I never grew up in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, but I saw reruns of old school Saturday Night Live when I was little on Comedy Central. So I hope all of you good night. And I'm gonna restart this music, start this song again. The song all of you just heard, "Stand Out," from a Goofy movie soundtrack sung by Tevin Campbell. Since I've got a piece of wrestling history for November 2004, 2005 for SmackDown, which was yesterday. So hope all of you good night. I'm out here "Stand Out" by Tevin Campbell from the Goofy movie soundtrack. Hope you have a good night. I'm out here. Peace.